going on, guys? Ben from JK Gear and Gadgets, and in this video I'm finally taking off my Rubicon rock rails and putting on a better set that's made for heavier duty off-roading. So I went with the Barnes 4-wheel drive Pritchett Canyon series rocker guards. So let's go take them out, see what they look like, get them prepped, and throw them on the Jeep. Whoa, hon, what are you doing?
Just trying to get you more likes and subscribers.
Well, that's definitely one way to help, but I'm pretty sure people are here to actually see the rock rails. All right, so here we have it, the Barnes Pritchett Canyon series rock sliders. And as you can tell, these things are beautiful. They're extremely heavy duty. I mean, it's made out of beefy steel. All the welds are beautiful, and it does have the dimple die cutouts to cut out some of that excess weight that's not really needed. It is gonna mount in the factory location for like the Rubicon rock rails. So this is gonna be extremely straightforward. Bolt it right on after we either powder coat it or paint it. But let's go throw a set on the Jeep, mock it up, and show you guys what it looks like. All right, guys, so went ahead and got the driver's side installed real quick. Just do a test fit before I painted them and to show you guys what it looks like. So as you can tell, they do stick out further than the Rubicon, factory rails, and these things are beefy and look amazing. We're gonna take them back off and get them ready to throw them on the Jeep. We're gonna clean them up, prime them, and then paint them. All right, so as you can tell behind me, I already have one slider that's already painted. Got one coat on it. I'm gonna wait a little bit, put a second coat. But this one, I'm gonna show you guys a few steps on how to prep these if you're gonna paint them at home. You're gonna need some rags, some acetone or mineral spirits, and of course your choice of primer and paint. I'm actually using the Rust-Oleum Hammered because it actually has a pretty cool texture that kind of mimics powder coat. So what we're gonna do is pretty much just wipe down any grease and oil or dirt, anything with the acetone and a rag. We're gonna wipe that down, let that dry, hit the whole thing with a nice coat of primer, let that dry, hit it with some paint. Cassie just got home. She's over there checking them out. I know she likes them.
Yeah, they look good, but before you do any more freaking Jeep stuff, can you mow the yard?
Oh yeah, I was supposed to do that today. Let me go mow the yard real quick. Now that I got that knocked out, let's go back to the fun stuff. Now that the rockers are finally painted, they've dried, the next step is gonna be throw them on the Jeep. But before we do that, I wanna point out a few reasons that you're gonna want rock rails on your Jeep. As you can tell, if you bought a Sport or a Sahara, it's either gonna come like this with nothing, or possibly some plastic side steps, or even the Rubicon rails if you have those. So this area is extremely vulnerable to damage. As you can tell, it's thin metal. You can see here kinda where mine's got hit before, even with the Rubicon rock rail. So adding a set of sliders that protrude out more and offer more protection is really a good idea once you start hitting the trails. So let's look at the hardware Barnes sent us and then throw them on. With the kit from Barnes will be all new hardware. So what that consists of is 6 M8 bolts, 12 M6 bolts, and nuts, and 4 little nut retainer clips. These do come bare metal, so as you can tell, I just hit it with some primer so these guys wouldn't rust up on me. There is one more, but it's still drying. I'll say that this is definitely more than a two-hand job, so either have a buddy come over, or if you're like me and have no friends that are willing to come help, we're gonna put a jack stand right here to hold the rock rails up while we tighten it down. I placed 2 jack stands on each corner and put a rag over top of them so it wouldn't scratch my fresh paint job. But let me crawl into the Jeep and show you guys where we are mounting these and what these guys are for. All right, so there's 2 spots where these nut retainers are gonna go. One right here in the middle of the Jeep, and then one up there forward, as you can see way over there. But all you're gonna do is face the nut inside the frame and simply slide it with a little bit of pressure right in there, and it clips. So the forward 2 bolts are gonna use those nut retainers, and the last one back here by the body mount is actually pre-tapped into the body. Next up, We're gonna gently place the rock guards into position with the jacks, then grab some of the hardware and start the 3 M8 bolts. So I actually had a buddy come over to lend me a hand for this side and the next side. TJ, he has a pretty cool green JK over there. We put some 35s on it yesterday. All right, so now that we got those 3 M8 bolts started, our next thing to do is to line up the pinch seam holes and put the M6 bolts, all 6 of them, in there and thread those in. Once those are in, we're gonna retighten the 3 M8 body bolts and then go in and tighten the M6 body bolts. Now that all the bolts are started in and hand tight, we're gonna grab our 1/2-inch wrench. Oh, this is not a wrench. We're gonna grab our 1/2-inch socket and tighten down those 3 lower bolts and then finish it up by tightening all 6 of the pinch seam bolts. So, as you can tell, the rock rails are on. The install was extremely simple. Like I said, it just bolts right on. As you saw, it definitely would be helpful with 2 people. Just be able to get the nuts on the back side and hold the wrench here on the front side. So as you can tell, they offer a lot more protection than the Rubicon rock rails. So they also sit further out and offer a lot more coverage than just the little square tubing rock rails that come on the Rubicon, or any other cheap rock sliders that are out there floating around on Jeeps. So this is USA made. I definitely recommend it. A few things I would like to point out though. If you are kind of picky, I wouldn't blame you, but you might want to paint the hardware prior to putting it on so you'll have silver bolts sticking out. You can either do it before or after. I mean, you could even hit it with a Sharpie, but that's one thing I'd point out. And one thing that I've had questions on before when I had them mocked up is this. A lot of people see this and they're thinking, oh my gosh, my tire's gonna rub. Why didn't they chop it off sooner? A lot of other rock rails are gonna stop right about here where the fender is, and they actually do it for a few reasons. One, the factory pinch seam actually is gonna come out to about here, which would be past this already. So if you're running a tire with the factory pinch seam not cut, then this will fit, no worry. So as you can tell, I already chopped my pinch seam in there, right there, and this is exactly pretty much even with that. So I still have like 2 inches of clearance between my 40s. So most people, that's not gonna be an issue with rubbing. If you're running like 42s and a 2.5-inch lift or something crazy like that, sure, this might be an issue. But you have to think that when your suspension travels and your tire comes up, it's gonna wanna go back because of the control arm angle. As your suspension goes up, the tire moves back in the wheel well. So if you have, clearance with your current pinch seam, this won't be an issue at all. But a benefit of the rock rail extending this far, it's supposed it did end right here. If we're riding a big rock on the rock rail and it drops off here before it hits the tire, it's gonna come up here and smash that body, smash the pinch seam. So with this, it's gonna ride the rock rail all the way to the tire. So we go up and over, just completely eliminating any body damage. So definitely satisfied with them, and man, these things look good. All right guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Like always, give it a thumbs up if you will. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe, do all types of Jeep videos, and got the fresh LJ in the back there that we're gonna start doing videos on, and Cassie's actually making her own channel. So I'll throw her channel in the description so you guys can go check her out, subscribe, and she's gonna be putting out some videos here shortly. But the rocker rails are on, and I'm ready to go test them out sometime. Hopefully some weekend we'll test them out, see how they do, and test my paint job. So until then guys, take care and go check out some more videos. Bye.